Welcome to Limo Anywhere. In this video, I'm going to show you how to quickly set up the basics of Limo Anywhere and kind of give you a tour of the layout. Our other videos go much more in depth on particular subjects. We want to give you a quick overview to help you get started using Limo Anywhere. So once you log in to Limo Anywhere, you will see this page. You will notice that there's different pages up at the top. So you have My Office, Accounts, Quotes, etc. Click on each of these. It's going to take you to a different screen of Limo Anywhere. You also have the Red Rate button, the New Res button, and our Global Search up here. So if you need to find something quickly, you can use that to globally search. New Res is going to create a new reservation for you quickly from there. You also have your Help here. So you can go to our Limo Anywhere University, check system status, sign up for notifications, and any other support and feedback. And you also have your log out button here. Okay, so once you log in, first thing you want to do is go to My Office, Contact Information. This is going to take you to the company information screen here. This is where you're going to fill out your name, address, phone numbers, email address, website, URL that will appear on top of your forms, such as confirmations, trip tickets, invoices, things like that that are sent from Limo Anywhere. You can also upload a company logo here as well. Now, I do want to inform you that if you do upload a logo here, that's what appears on the forms. It replaces all this information on forms. So you want to make sure that your logo has your address or any contact information on it, so that shows on the forms as well. Once you have that set, you can click Update My Company Contact Information, and that'll save it for you. On most screens in Limo Anywhere, you will see an update button or a save button to save those changes. Next thing you want to do is go to Messaging and Template Settings. Under here, you have the Email Res Manifest tab. What the Email Res Manifest does is allow you to set up a schedule to be emailed your reservation manifest report regularly. So how does this help you? Well, since Limo Anywhere is a cloud-based system, if at any time you're unable to access the internet or Limo Anywhere, you can have your reservations emailed to you as a backup system. So to set this up, you just want to enable it if it isn't already. You can set the date range, current date plus 1, 2 days, sending 2, 4, 6 hours, starting from a particular time. I would not touch any of these filters here. I would leave them at all, as well as the exclude information. You can include the notes and airport pickup instructions if you want. But here you can put in up to 3 email addresses to be emailed to the reservation manifest. Once you click Save Settings, that's going to save that, and you should start receiving your reservation manifest via email regularly. The next thing that you want to do is set up your system rate manager. So if I click on a new reservation here, down here in the rates, you will have line items by default that we load in here for you. Most of these line items you are going to use to charge the customer. You have your primary and secondary tab. So I have a $100 flat rate with the 20% gratuity and a state tax. Now it could be different for you and your company. That is why we allow you to create new line items or edit the existing ones so they can be custom to your business. So to do that, we go under My Office, Rate Management, System Rate Manager. Now if I click Show All, you will see here that it's going to show all of the rate line items that were in that new reservation. As you can see, the list is here. Some are listed in black, some are in red. Red means it's inactive, so it's not going to show on the new reservation screen. I don't use that particular rate any longer, or I never did, so I inactivated it. Black means that it is active, and you'll see that throughout Limo Anywhere. If it's red, usually means it's inactive. So from here, you can highlight a rate and click edit, and it'll load on the right hand side of the screen over here. So you'll see it loaded up, flat rate. So if I wanted to change the name to base rate or something else, I can do that here and save it. Most line items are going to have a default amount of 0 in them. The default amount is something that you are going to charge on every reservation. So obviously my flat rate is probably going to change. It's not always going to be a fixed number of $100 on every reservation. So in this case, I'm going to leave it as 0. But something like standard gratuity, I charge 20% on every reservation. So I am going to put in that default amount of 20% and save it. Now you'll also notice this kind of layout throughout Limo Anywhere as well. Selecting, clicking edit, it's going to load up on the right hand side. It'll show the list here, and you'll see that in other places throughout Limo Anywhere. So if you're going to add a new rate instead of editing an existing one, add a new rate. You have fixed rate, multiplier rate, and percentage rate. So depending on what type of rate you want to enter will be here. So you're going to select a rate group. Is it a base rate? Is it a gratuity? Is it miscellaneous? Is it a surcharge? Is it a discount? That's up to you to choose. Now I will say that choosing rate groups for each different type of line item that you're going to charge the customer can affect other rate groups as well. And that's most commonly seen in a percentage rate. So if I was going to add a percentage rate into here, you'll notice if I add a surcharge 1, that's a percentage of the base rates, gratuities, taxes, and miscellaneous total. So all of these that have base rate, gratuities, miscellaneous, it's going to be calculated in this percentage rate. If I just wanted just the base rates but as a surcharge, I can do a percentage of the base rate totals. If this is a gratuity, obviously it's just a percentage of the base rate totals. So you select that rate group based on that. You'll put in your rate name. Put in a default amount if you are going to charge that to every reservation by default, and then save it. Once you save it, it'll be added to this list over here for you to edit or inactivate as well. So that's a basic overview of System Rate Manager. It's most important to get this set up first exactly how you want with the calculations, because any change made in System Rate Manager is not retroactive, meaning that any reservation you created before will not change to the new setup that you have. It will only apply to new reservations going forward. So once you've got the basic System Rate Manager set up how you want, the next thing you want to do is set up your vehicle types. So to set up vehicle types, we go to Company Resources tab here and Vehicle Types. Now, vehicle types are the overall type of vehicle. These aren't the specific cars. We'll do that in fleet, which I'll get to next. Vehicle types are the overall type of vehicle. Is it a sedan? Is it a limo? Is it an SUV? A van? things like that. Rates in Limo Anywhere, whether it's hourly, passenger, distance, fixed rates, and zones, are based on the vehicle type. So really and truly, you only want to create vehicle types based on the overall type of cars that you have and based on rates that you want to set up. So to add a new vehicle type, you go here, add new vehicle type. You're going to give it the code. The code has to be unique. You cannot use it for multiple vehicle types. So for this instant, I am going to create a Sprinter. Give it a vehicle type title. Status is active. You're going to set your passenger capacity and luggage capacity. You'll also want to make sure that you associate it with the appropriate service types. You can select all or select only certain ones. So for the Sprinter, I only use it for airport runs. So I'm only going to select the to and from airport service type options. You can put in a long vehicle description, which is going to show on step 2 of the online reservation system. So that will display to your customer. And then you just click Add New Vehicle Type. Once you add the vehicle type, you'll see it's listed over here on the left-hand side. But you all have your Rates tab, where you set up your hourly, passenger, and distance-based rates. And you also have your Images tab. So if you want to upload an image of a Sprinter or one of your Sprinters or sedans or limos, you can do so here, and that will show on the online reservation system as well. We will not get into rates during this video, but we do have in-depth videos going over setting up different types of rates per vehicle type. Now you will see I'm editing the Sprinter here. If I wanted to edit the sedan, maybe change the associated service types or the title or anything like that, you can do so and update. You will see here there's a delete and then an add new. You will see those symbols throughout Limo Anywhere. Next thing you want to do is set up your individual cars. So these are actually the individual cars that you have in your fleet. You are going to assign these to reservations with your drivers so you can keep track of scheduling that car and make sure there's no conflicts. So when adding a new vehicle, you'll put in a code. Code is totally up to you what you want it to be. Just know that the code must be unique. You cannot use the same code for multiple vehicles, just like in vehicle types. You'll give it a description, select the vehicle type it belongs to, the make, the model, the year, the color, and capacity. You can put in the plate number, VIN number if you want, odometer reading if you need to, and then you can link the car with the driver as well. You don't want to use linking cars with drivers unless that driver always drives that car and no other car. Once you have that set, you'll select Add New Vehicle, and it'll appear here on the left-hand side under your fleet. You can always go in here and edit. Just like I said before, you have your delete and you have your add new. So once you've got that set up, we're going to want to go ahead and create our drivers. So under Company Resources, Drivers, you're going to go in here and create your driver. The only thing that's really required to create a driver is first name and last name. You can fill out this other information, but it is totally optional to you. What I do recommend is filling out the first name, last name, cell phone number, selecting the provider, and their email address. So the cell phone number allows them to get text messages, and email address as well allows them to get emails, trip sheets, things of that nature. You will also want to set up web access username and password so your driver can use our Driver Anywhere app, which is free. So the Driver Anywhere app allows them to receive their trips, accept jobs, see all that information for a trip, and update statuses on the way, arrived, customers in car, done. So that way, dispatch knows they are going through the trip. So once you add a driver, you will see more tabs appear above here. You'll want to go into Driver Anywhere Settings tab and make sure they're allowed to use Driver Anywhere and update that. If you want to allow them to edit trip times, see rate data, edit rate data, close out trips, process payments, you can check those as needed to allow them to do those things in Driver Anywhere. You also have your Payroll Setup tab. We won't go over this in this video, but we do have a driver payroll video that goes in depth on the payroll setup. And then you have your driver portrait, which you can upload a portrait of them to be used on scheduled emails or customer forms sent to your client. You just browse for a file and upload it. So once you've got your drivers set up, next thing you want to do is activate your airports. So under company resources still, airports, you want to go in here and edit which airports you service. And you'll notice here, just like I stated before, black means active, red means inactive. By default, all airports are red, inactive. So you need to go in here, find an airport you service, highlight it, edit the airport, change that status to active, and update it. So you want to do that for every airport you service. And once you've got those airports activated, that pretty much completes the simple basic setup of Limo Anywhere. So what I'm going to teach you next is how to create a reservation. So the easiest way to start a new reservation, as you saw earlier, is this green New Res button. If I click it, it's automatically going to start a new reservation. Now you will see this warning. Attention, this reservation was created, has not been saved. Be sure to save it before leaving this screen. This is very important. In order to save a reservation, there's only 3 required fields. That's billing contact field, pickup date, and pickup time. Everything else is optional. So I am going to give you kind of an overview of the reservation screen and a basic method to fill it out. So like I said, the only things required are billing contact, pickup date, pickup time. Just to kind of quickly go over billing contact, booked by, and passenger. Billing contact's the person paying for the trip. Booked by is the person that's booking the trip. And then the passenger is actually somebody who's riding on that trip. So for this case, the billing contact is going to be the same as the passenger. So we'll just put in John Doe. Passenger first name, John Doe. Give it a passenger phone number. Passenger email, so I can send him emails, trip sheets, or he might receive text messages from me that I might schedule. Pickup date, pickup time, right here you are going to put in your routing information. So if it's an address, airport, seaport, FBO, or POI, you'll notice that the routing fields change every time I click on that. So I'm just going to enter in an address here. And I'm going to put in an airport. So if you activated the airports, they will be listed here under stored airports. So I'm going to select the airport. I'm going to select the airline. I'm going to put in a flight number. I'm going to verify that. If I had any airport pickup instructions, I could add that as well here. Drop off, verified the flight. So here in the stored routing information, you'll see I have a pickup and a drop off. Let's say I wanted to add a stop. I'll go ahead and add another address here. So you'll see here it's a pickup, a stop, and a drop. If I add multiple here, they will be listed. If you hover over a particular route, you can edit or delete that. If I edit it, it's going to populate back up here. Maybe I need to put in some notes. And save it. You can also drag and drop these in order that you need. So if you had multiple stops on here, you can drag them in the order of the trip. You also add trip notes. This is add to trip sheet. So if you want to add that to the driver trip sheet, and then if you want to hide it from the customer, you can do that as well. Dispatch notes are only seen on the dispatch screen. You're going to want to select your service type. So this is to airport. And select the vehicle type used for this. And you might not have set up any rates yet, but you did set up your system rate manager. So you can go in here and manually put in a rate like we did before and save that reservation. Once saved, you'll notice that warning up at the top has disappeared. So that's how you know it was saved. So it's going to save that information for you. And that's the basics of just creating a reservation. So let's say I'm ready to dispatch that reservation, assign it to a driver. I can do that here in the reservation screen. Click on driver, assign it a driver, assign it a car, and save it. Can do that. You can also do it from the dispatch screen. So I'm going to go to the day that I set this trip up for. You'll notice here. If I double click on the trip, it's going to bring up my quick edit. So I can assign driver and car straight from here, from the dispatch screen. Once offered to the driver, it's going to appear in their Driver Anywhere app. They'll be able to see the basic information of the trip and accept that trip or reject it. Once they accept that trip, the status will change to an accepted state, and then they can work that from Driver Anywhere. Like I said before, going on the way, arrived, customer and car done, taking payments, anything like that. So that's basically dispatching a reservation to your driver, and your driver goes through the process. I'm going to go ahead and set this trip to done, just for training purposes, so I can show you how to settle a reservation. So once a trip is done, it will go to the settlement screen. So here you have your settle, and you'll see this trip I just set done is now here under the Done and Unsettled tab. So if I want to take a payment for this, I can click on Payments, take a credit card transaction if I need to, take a cash check if I need to as well. And then you also have your Settle button, which is going to bring up the settlement screen. Now, you cannot settle a trip unless the payment method is direct bill invoice or the total outstanding is 0.00. So, in order to settle this trip, I'll need to make a payment on it. Now, settling trips in Limo Anywhere just means you're finalizing the trip. You're getting payments, you're making sure that driver payroll is correct, any affiliate or agent pay as well. So you want to make sure the customer rate's correct and take a payment for it. Take a payment. For training purposes, I'm just going to take a credit card offline payment and submit that. So now you'll see the total outstanding is now 0.00. So I can settle this now. Before I settle, though, I want to make sure my first driver payroll is correct. If you have not set up your payroll yet, you will have to manually enter in these amounts. But for this particular driver, I've already set up payroll. And you also have your affiliate and agent pay. I haven't farmed this one out, so there's no affiliate pay. And there's no agent pay on this particular reservation either. But those are there as well. You want to make sure that those are correct. So now I'm ready to finalize this. I'm ready to settle this trip. Just click settle. It will be removed from the done and unsettled tab and into the settled reservations tab. So you can see that there. And that's basically the process of a trip in Limo Anywhere. You want to create that reservation, dispatch it to your driver, let the driver go through his process, and settle that reservation. Receive payment, make sure your drivers are getting paid, your affiliates getting paid, if applicable. Well, thank you very much for your time. Like I said, we do have other videos that go more in depth. We have articles to help you. Support is always around to help you out, whether by phone or by email. You can also click on the orange help button up here. Click on Limo Anywhere University, and that will take you to our knowledge base. You can click on videos up here to get to our YouTube channel, and down here, any articles that you need help, you can always search for. Say if I wanted to do hourly rates, setting up hourly, setting up driver payroll, anything like that will be listed here. Thank you very much for your time.